Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Lauren and on my channel we talk about books. And today's video, I'm actually really excited. I mean, I'm excited for all the videos that I film here on this channel, but today's video I'm like extra excited about because it's a video that I've never done before, and it is a favorites and fails video of 2025 so far. So basically a recap of the best books that I think that I've read and some of the not so best books that I have read. I do feel also a little, not awkward, but I have kind of changed the setup. So I got a new mic and I'm really excited about it. I got like an actual microphone. Like usually I would wear the clip-on ones, but this is like, she's a microphone. So I have her sitting right here on a little table next to me. So if the sound is better, worse, not so great, I'm gonna have to play with the settings because it has like a whole bunch of little knobs. So hopefully the sound quality is better, is good. It's supposed to like cancel out some of the noise. I always have my ceiling fan on because I'm just a hot girly, and it's summertime in Texas. It's like 102 degrees outside. I do have two relatively large windows right here. Like this entire wall next to me is basically window. So I do have the windows open. So anyways, it's hot. Basically I said all that to say it's kind of hot in my room. So I have the fan on, that creates noise, and on the other side of my other wall is the laundry room. So when I have towels going or whatever kind of laundry situation happening, the last couple of videos I have been able to hear the washer and or dryer, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but I definitely noticed, and I tried to like tweak the sound whenever I was editing the video, but I don't know, maybe because I know that it's there, I feel like you can hear it. So I'm hoping that this microphone kind of like is better at eliminating outside noise. So long story short, I got a new microphone, and because of that, the like jack that goes into the camera, or the USB I guess is really what it's called, it's not called a jack anymore, but the USB that goes into the camera is like thick and long, and so I can no longer fully see myself in the camera screen. So it's not, usually I can like monitor if I go out of focus or whatever, but I can't anymore. So I'm like sacrificing being able to see what's happening on the screen for better sound quality. So hopefully I'm in focus, hopefully you can hear me. So yeah, so hopefully that's going well, but I am really excited to talk about the books that I have read this year that have been major hits for me, and to kind of, I don't know, go over books that weren't hits for me and see how you guys feel about that. Do we have similar hits and similar misses, or did you absolutely love some of the books that just didn't quite do it for me? So I guess I have rambled enough about nonsense in this intro, so let's go ahead and get into it, you guys. I think I will start with my fails first. That way we can end the video on a high note. And also, luckily, I have less fails than what I do wins. So we'll do the fails first. The first book on my fails list is The Last Graduate by Naomi Novik. I gave this book, I think, 2.7 stars. Yeah, I gave this book 2.7 stars. I didn't absolutely love the first one either. I don't remember what I gave that book, but I read it last year, so it doesn't matter. Of 2025, this one was one of my fails. I don't know, like I guess that the writing isn't necessarily bad. It's just the story isn't for me. I think that her writing is fine. You know, it's not like poorly written or anything, or there's not like plot holes or anything like that. It's just simply the story is not for me. I'm not its audience. I would consider, I'm pretty sure it is considered a YA book, but I don't necessarily dislike YA books, so I don't think that is like the downfall of this book for me. I just think that the story isn't for me. With that being said, I do have the third book and I am going to read it. I don't expect to like love it or anything, but I have trudged through the first and second book, so we may as well conclude the trilogy. I have heard that the third book is the best book, but with this being only a 2.75 read, I mean, you can only go up from here, you know what I mean? And it's not that I hate this book. Like, I would recommend this book to like a middle schooler. I think that this is like the audience for this book is like middle school. Yeah, I mean, it's weird because I don't hate the book. I'm not like, I don't have any ill feelings about this book. I just find it kind of boring. Like, nothing spectacular is happening. I mean, we've got this group of kids that are in a high school and they, you know, have basically good magic or bad magic. Bad magic is when you pull other people's magic out of them and consume it for yourself. And then inside of this school, they can't leave. And the school is like basically like in a mountain, if you will, and outside the walls it's just like vast nothingness. So if you leave, essentially you die. And the school has like these monsters that kind of like come out of like the woodwork and they eat you. And so kids have to like band together to defeat these like creatures. And there's like cliques and hierarchies of, you know, family, and if you're in the in crowd, you're in what's called an enclave. And so basically we follow a young girl who she has really powerful dark magic, but she refuses to use it, and she's also not a part of any enclave because she's not like a popular kid. Her mom is kind of like this weird gypsy woman, and so she's kind of like an outcast. And so the book is following her journey and trying to enter an enclave to better chance her survival rating. So it's like the premise of the story is not a terrible one. I just think because it's written for a younger audience, I don't know, it's just like not steamy. There is a love and like a love connection, if you will, but the ending of the second book, you really kind of start to see that evolve. The book just isn't for me, and it's not at the fault of the writing or the writing style. It's just, I think because it's YA, there's only so much the author can do, and what the author did do, I just found it to be really boring and lackluster, uneventful. So it just wasn't the book for me. The second book on my fails for 2025 is The Wood at Midwinter by Susanna Clarke. This book was just so weird to me, and it's like a really short book. I don't think it's even 100 pages. Yeah, this book is 60 pages, so like not a big deal that I didn't enjoy it, but I think it took me like 45 minutes to read, maybe. But it just was strange, and not like in an endearingly eerie way. It just was like what is going on? I'm pretty sure Susanna Clarke is British, and this definitely felt like a British story. It felt very fairy tale-esque. It was definitely like whimsical, and I feel like I saw where the author was trying to go with this. Like I saw the vision. I just didn't enjoy the execution. It felt weird, but not like in the weird that I wanted. It just didn't do it for me. So basically we follow a young woman and she feels a kinship to the forest, and this story basically follows her journey of becoming one with the forest, be it the trees, the plants, the animals, and making her life as a forest dweller. And I think it wanted to have like a witchy vibe to it almost, you know, like a woman disappearing into the woods and becoming one with nature. It definitely had that, you know, plot line going for it. It just, I don't know if it was like the language that was used, or maybe because it was so short. I don't know. I don't really feel like the length was the problem. I just felt like the execution, I don't know, the writing just, I just remember always feeling like, what are we even doing here? Like, what is the point? Like, is there a point? Is the point not to have a point? I don't know. Whatever I was meant to get from this, I didn't get it. it never happened for me. I closed the book and I just was like, okay, like moving on. And I don't know if I mentioned prior, but I did give this book 2 stars. My next fail of 2025 is, I think, a controversial one. I think a lot of people loved this book, and for whatever reason, it just did not do it for me, and that is Fearless by Lauren Roberts. This book totally fell flat for me. I thought that it felt really juvenile. I thought that it was really repetitive. I did not like the banter or dynamic between Peyton and Kai. I thought that the best thing about this book was Kit's development. I loved his chapter, like, after death, I guess. I thought that was just really interesting and beautiful, and I did really appreciate that chapter. That to me was the best part about this book. But yeah, I mean, there were certain interesting things about it, like the twist of Peyton's lineage, and so it wasn't, you know, a complete flop. I think that there were some hard-hitting, noteworthy quotes and lines, and like I said, Kit's ending chapter was really profound, but the meat of the book for me just did not do it for me. I struggled to read this book, to complete this book. I mean, I just thought that compared to the first 2 books, especially Powerless, I thought Powerless was for sure the best book in the trilogy. This book, I like questioned, like, is this the same author of the first 2 books? And like, has something changed in me where like this writing style is no longer, you know, something that I enjoy? I felt like the sentences were really short, if that makes sense. I felt like there was a lot of like, I did this, I did that. I don't know, there just was something about the writing where I just was like, oh my gosh, like, can we get more interesting, please? Like, I just really did not love the time that it took me to read this book. It took me a month and some to read this book just because I didn't want to pick it up. I read like 2 or 3 books in between finishing this book. I mean, this book put me in a reading slump. And not because I couldn't move on, because I didn't want to pick a book up. I just was like, no. So that makes me sad because I was anticipating this book to be like a hard-hitting 5-star read, and it was not. I did end up giving this book 3 stars, and I go back and forth because I feel like that's too high, but then I do think about how much I did love Kit's ending chapter. I think about the twist of Peyton's lineage, and I did enjoy the king, like the late king, what's his name, Edric. I did enjoy learning his backstory. So like there were parts of this book that I did enjoy, but overall, like I said, I did not enjoy it. And so I think because of those, the things that I did enjoy, I enjoyed immensely. But the things that I enjoyed were like few and far between. You know, it wasn't like I was constantly enjoying myself. There were just like little tidbits where I was like, oh, that's nice. And then for a large chunk of it, I was like, oh my God, this is torture. So I gave it 3 stars. I don't know. I grapple with that. I don't know if that's really how I feel. Maybe it's like 2.75, 2.75, 3. I feel like 3 is being generous, but I don't know where in the 2 spectrum it deserves to be. Definitely not 2, but maybe 2.5, 2.75. Like maybe that's more fair for my true feelings. But on Goodreads, you can't do half stars, so I think that's why I put it on 3, because I feel like 2 wasn't fair, but also I feel like 3 is being incredibly generous. But I think 2.5, 2.75 is a more accurate representation of how I feel about this book. The next book I have is The Witch and the Tsar. I'll just have her name scroll across the bottom of the screen. The author's name, I unfortunately, so sorry, can not pronounce it. Her last name, I think it's like her married name, is Gilmore. That I can pronounce, but I just do not want to do her any injustice. I don't want to be offensive because I cannot pronounce her name, but I will have it down here below. I had such high hopes for this book because it is a book steeped in mythology. This does follow Baba Yaga, and it is steeped in Russian mythology. That part got me really excited because I do love mythology from any culture, from any point on the globe. I just love it. I think it's really interesting. I really like mythology in general, but I like cultural history, if that makes sense. And obviously mythology has a lot to do with that. So that really interests me. And I did enjoy the parts of this book that explored mythology. And we do follow Ivan the Terrible in this book. He is our main character, one of our main male characters. He so we kind of like get like the history of Ivan the Terrible. I'm sure like loosely based, and it needs to fit like the story. So I don't know how accurate the depiction of Ivan the Terrible is. I mean, obviously Baba Yaga is a mythological creature, or not creature, but being. So the story is, from that perspective, is obviously just that, a story, but Ivan the Terrible is a real person from history. So I thought those parts were really fun to read. But again, this story just kind of fell flat for me. I didn't find it particularly interesting. The story that was told involving Baba Yaga, I kind of didn't find interesting. There were tropes that were introduced that Baba Yaga is going through that is just, I didn't find it interesting. It didn't do anything for me. I kind of was a little disappointed at the route that the author went to in writing about Baba Yaga. I think that the cover is beautiful, and I did get this book on Audible, and that is how I finished out listening to the story, because reading it like literally made my eyeballs hurt. So I used one of my credits on Audible, and I got this book because I really wanted to finish it. I hate not finishing a book. I want to do the book justice in finishing it. That way I can really formulate an opinion, because like maybe it gets better. I don't know. But this book just didn't do it for me. Even listening to it was a really big struggle, because I just was like, ugh. Like I just had the sentiment of like, I don't care. you know? So I did give this book I think 2.5 stars on Fable, but on Goodreads it has 2 stars. I think I liked the book up until Baba Yaga does end up getting pregnant by a mortal man, and I'm just like, of course she did. Like, this man that she's known, like, Baba Yaga has been alive for centuries, millennia, and this man that she's known for 2 weeks gets her pregnant. Like, of course he did. So once that happened, I just was kind of like, okay. Like, I already wasn't in love with the story, but I was listening to it because I enjoy, like, the history and the entwined mythology that's, like, you know, woven throughout the story. But once that happened, I was like, you lost me. The last book that did not do it for me this year so far, I will put a picture right here because I only have this book on Audible, and it is Big Dumb Eyes by Nate Bargatze. He is a comedian, and I do really enjoy his stand-up. I talked about this book on one of my anticipated release videos, and I opted to listen to it on Audible because it is narrated by him. So I was like, oh, this is the way to go because he's really funny. You get to hear the stories being told in his voice. So I felt like that would be the best way to consume the book. I am so glad I did not purchase this book, like the physical copy in the bookstore, because this book, I don't know, I was expecting to like laugh my ass off. I was expecting it to be super funny because he is funny. It's like a dry humor kind of guy. So that's kind of what I was expecting the book to be like. And this book could be nothing less than that. I don't know if it's because he was reading narration. Like, obviously he didn't write the book. He probably told stories to someone and then or maybe he wrote down the stories or typed them, whatever, you know what I mean, and then gave them to like an editor or a ghostwriter, and they, you know, wrote the stories to make sense in a way that you could have on pen and paper and someone could read them and understand what you're saying. I don't know. I don't know the background of how that happened, but him, I guess, having to read the stories as they're written on paper, the Audible just like felt awkward. You could tell that he was reading, if that makes sense. And so it just was like really like monotone, emotionless, like it felt scripted. It didn't feel like a genuine flow, like he was like talking to you, which I know he's not, and he has to follow the script of the book. So I get that. I mean, I still enjoy him as a comedian. This isn't like turn me off from like watching him like as a comedic act, but this book, yeah, it was not good. It was not good at all. And this book is my first ever 1 star. If I could give it no stars, I would, but it's 1 star. It just, don't waste your time. Sorry. Okay, now for the fun part, let's talk about our favorite